Coffin Build 2021. Here I lay out the fence boards, mark them at fixed intervals, and put some biscuit grooves in the sides so that I can apply some glue, insert some biscuits, and press them together. This allows me to create a strong panel using some very inexpensive fence boards. Once I get them all glued and set into place, I clamp them together, rip some 1x2s, next I begin on the second panel. Same layout, same task. Drilling some biscuit grooves, dropping in some biscuits, applying some glue, clamping it together, and then adding some lats for support. The lats are screwed in with some construction screws. The lats themselves are drilled and countersunk. Now I can take the sheet from Samhain Propworks, the design and outline for this toe pincher coffin, and mark those dimensions, and then take my circular saw and cut it to size. Easy peasy. Now I can begin assembling the coffin by cutting the side pieces to fit and then nailing them into place with my air nailer. The angles were a little tricky on this. I didn't get them perfect. I got them good enough for me. This last piece took a little bit of Mickey Mouse action to get it to fit. I even had to trim the end to get square corners so I could get the fit that I needed. But I got it, and then I proceed. I got 2x2s that I start to put in for structural supports. These get, one side gets ripped with a either 6 or 10 degree angle as required for the corners. And I glue and nail those into place as I go. Next, I begin the second course of fence boards on the side. Cut to fit and then nailed into place. Just about done, so I get the other panel and I flip it over, mark out the dimensions. This top panel is cut to fit. Then I trim the lats a little bit so that the cover will drop into place properly. I get a pretty good fit, but I got a little bit of edge to trim off, and so I do, and then it fits nicely. At which point I begin distressing the wood using my router and a 1/4 inch round bit. I just start routing in some random squiggles to give it a distressed look, like it's been dragged through the woods. I also did a round over on all the corners. New wood has sharp corners and weathered wood has rounded corners, so again, just part of the distressing and weathering. I put some plywood in there on the sides, just glued and nailed that into place to add a little bit more support to those long boards on the side. Then I drill and use my saber saw to cut in some holes, make it look like some it's got some ruddy holes and knots have fallen out. And I mark a zigzag across the top. I use my circular saw to plunge in some zigs and some zags, and then I use my saber saw to finish those cuts. And then I got a breakaway piece that I can leave in place to have a complete coffin, or I can take out to have a creature crawling out of my coffin. So I got options. And then again, I use the router to round over those edges on all the holes, and also that zigzag cut. Now I'm ready to begin my finishing. I use a 50,000 BTU propane torch to distress the wood a little bit and make some of the grains and the features pop out. It's also handy, it dries the wood a little bit. It's pretty wet wood. And so some of the routering, there's a lot of burrs that were on the routers that were left in place, and they didn't brush off. I could have taken a wire brush to them, but they brushed off very easily after getting singed by this propane torch. After that, the final step was to stain it. I used a transparent stain, oil-based. I did not lay down enough tarp, and I got some splatters on my garage floor and even got a couple drops on the Harley back there. But I caught them quick and they cleaned up pretty easily. Applied it thick, and then I wiped it off with wiped off the excess with a cloth rag. And voila, we're done. There's the finished product sitting up in front of the house. Here it is with the creature crawling out. Special thanks to Samhain Propworks for the design and the detailed video that inspired this coffin build.